Yeah, I mean, we talked about a lot. I mean, we talked about transforming the whole field of leadership development. We talked about, the fact that somewhere north of 40% of companies right now are thinking about completely rebuilding their strategy, like literally starting from scratch with how they develop leaders. We talked about some of the trends as to why that's happening, what's driving that. The changing nature of work, the changing nature of leaders themselves, many other things. And then we talked about the importance in today's environment of massively simplifying a leadership development strategy. And the days of 67 competencies, or even 25 competencies, or even 12 competencies are kind of past. And companies increasingly are thinking about what are the three things leaders must focus on all the time. So we talked a lot about the need for simplifying and the journey to do that. We also talked about the role of language, and having a consistent set of language tools for leadership development. Because right now, most leadership development programs is like software provided by 10 different vendors with nothing really speaks to each other. And we talked about the power of a consistent framework for leadership development. For example, if you're talking about emotions and managing emotions, that topic shows up in a dozen different places in leadership development, and you don't want to have a dozen different definitions of what emotions are and how to manage them that argue with each other in those 12 different places. In giving feedback separately, to conflict resolution separately, to being more inclusive. You don't want to keep piling on with more and more ideas that are complicated. So we talked about the importance of a consistent framework, and then we talked about trends in behavior change and the shift towards ready access tools rather than programs. Those are the big things. I mean, I think there's lots of challenges. I think in trying to keep up with how people actually work now. Most HR functions are built for 10, 20 years ago. People work really differently. They work different hours, they work different places, they work different ways, they're working on different types of things in different types of teams. And, just work has changed massively. So overall, I think just HR is struggling to catch up with that across everything, whether it's, practice, the practices, as well as performance management, as well as talent management, as well as career pathing, and sort of everything is a bit of a mess right now. So I think the combination of, technology innovations and the ability to work anywhere, and just the different types of work, all this is making the organizations change, and HR just isn't really keeping up with that.